Welcome back to This Side of 40. This is your girl Lou, and this will be an update to my drop 10 before summer. This is another Fantastic Ladies collab, and it was created by Jessica, Amanda, and Jenna. And I'm hoping I'm saying your name right, Jenna or Jenna. So without further ado, let's get into the first palette that I felt a little bit some kind of way about it. And that will be the Iconic London palette. Now, let me just give the disclaimer. This is a good palette as far as the palette itself. Like, the color story in it is amazing. The more I was able to work with it, I did get better color payoff. Like, the first couple of days I used it, the color payoff was something. So I think this, as far as the film on top of it, reminds me kind of like LA Girl Pro or LA Colors. They have this like little film on top of their shadows, so when you first start working with them, they're a little bit hard to build up. However, by the end of the week, I did get it to give me some color payoff. Now, the drawback for this palette for me personally is $65, and she don't play well. She only got, for my personal, like, I can use it, wear it, whatever. There's two shades, a tan, and it's the nude and marshmallow that are in here. That, girl, However, the rest of the palette could work well. I can be honest with you guys, after I had enough time to play with it and kind of get some of that filmy layer stuff off, it did start having a better color payoff. But I can admit, at the beginning of the week, like by day 4 with this palette, I was like, no, $65 you not, and you shouldn't be asking. But then I looked into it to find out who makes it, where is it manufactured, and you can buy this off the Morphe website. So that kind of had me feeling some kind of way, because I feel like Morphe's quality of their stuff has been good as far as the things I purchased from Morphe in the past. So I don't know if it was just I got a bad palette. However, once I got to playing with it a little bit more, it was okay. Would I go out and buy it again? Nah. And because of this situation, I wouldn't even buy anything Iconic London ever again. Moving along, let's move into the one I just started using this week, and it is the Balm Cosmetics Auto Blom Day to Night palette, and this is what she looks like. Let's look at her color story. Now, this palette for me is on the definite list if you are a beginner and you don't mind spending a little bit more on your first eyeshadow palette. I definitely would say get it. I definitely would say get it, because, and I can't even get it to open now, because the color story inside is easy to work with, especially if you are a beginner and you don't have prior knowledge on how to build things up. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this creamy black right here makes any part of this palette workable. Any part of this palette, see? It's workable. And I definitely would, if I had the money and I was going to buy every woman in my life a palette just for them to start working with, this would be it. This would be the palette I paid palette bingo with. This would be the palette I took on vacation. This would be the palette I sent my daughter off to college with. This is that palette. This is that first interview palette. This is a good palette. Now, would I purchase this because this came in a box? Definitely. This one is approved. This one right here, Lulu approved of this, because for the price, because I looked up the price, this is worth the money. And I think I seen it and from different prices points, and I'm just saying that because I don't know if the places I seen it, I just looked it up. I looked at the price range anywhere from $15 an hour to $29, and I don't know which one is necessarily true, but I know that this, even if it's $29, is worth its coin. Now, let's move into the next one. This is Dominique Cosmetics Sweater Weather Palette. Now, I usually don't keep the sleeve on an eyeshadow palette, but she deserved her sleeve. She do. Same situation, manufactured at the same place, and do you guys see that? This is an all matte palette. I've never bought just an all matte palette and thought I could play with it day after day. I played with this palette for a whole week, and I'll be honest with you, I started to just end all my project pans and give up on panning and just give everything away and just have this palette and a couple of Juvia's Place palettes and be happy. However, if you're melanating your skin, because you can be a mahogany, because that's what I thought was going to be a problem. You could be a mahogany all the way to an alabaster, like the creamiest of cream fair and the purest of the mahogany's brown or chocolate, and this will still work. I definitely would repurchase this if I panned it and they still sold it. It's like that It's My Ray Ray palette I panned. If anybody has the original It's My Ray Ray palette, or you know somebody who's never used it and wants to sell it, leave me a comment in the line below. I'll definitely buy it from you. Now, moving along, this is my Masquerade palette. This is what I have on today. She does play well with others as well as by herself, and she plays from brand to brand well. I used her today with a Shani Cosmetics palette as well as another one of the Juvia's Place palettes, and she plays well with others. Now, would I repurchase this palette? I definitely would. I have a little bit of a warning, and the reason why I'm saying this out loud is because I didn't know this before I used this palette this last week. This hot pink will stain your skin. I repeat, even if you put an eyeshadow base on underneath, concealer, foundation, or whatever, it will put a little bit of a tint or a little bit of stain on your skin. So when you do remove it, make sure not only do you use a makeup wipe, but you do go back in with soap and water and get the rest off. And it does, when I woke up every day after using this particular shade, I did still have a little bitty pink in my crease, but that wasn't anything for me to complain about, because when something does that to me, I'm like, yes, you get me. You are going to last me all day. I'm not going to feel like I was disappointed or any of the above. Would I repurchase the Juvia's Place palette? Because this was my first ever Juvia's Place palette. I definitely would, and I am glad to see that they're keeping all of their palettes on their website so that you can repurchase if need be. Now let's get into the palettes that I haven't used and just kind of talk about them. These are the ones I haven't used left. So I have 6 more weeks worth of palettes. May's next month. June's right around the corner. I am going to get into using these for 3 days. I was using those for a week because I wanted to see. I've heard hype on Iconic London. The Balm, I have a coworker who only wears The Balm. She only wears The Balm. So I had to see about those two. Juvia's Place, I wanted to know if it was hype or not, because for me, Juvia's Place, the pricing on an eyeshadow palette for me for Juvia's Place is not really usually in my price point, because I am an inexpensive beauty girl. However, I personally am starting to feel like I need to branch out and spend a little bit more coin to see what else is out there. So, next week's palette will be Hank and Henry. The following palette after Hank and Henry is definitely going to be Fenty. And after Fenty, I'm going to go into Coastal Scents. And this is the palette Ricky created for me. This is my dream palette. This is, if I picked my colors for myself, this would be my color story. And following that, we're going to go into the Tribe. because she here is a very good palette, and I feel like I could wear her day after day, week after week. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the link below. And as far as that 10 pounds, honey, I gained it all back. So I'm going to have to work very hard to get this next 10 pounds off in time for the end of this project pan. See you next time on this side of 40.